The auditorium of Crestwood Academy smelled faintly of polished wood and expensive perfume, an unmistakable blend that reminded Lily Martinez exactly how out of place she was among the children of CEOs, senators, and tech giants. She stood backstage gripping her beat-up acoustic guitar, the same one she'd found in the donation bin at her mother's job years ago. She'd restrung it herself with the cheapest steel strings she could find. It buzzed when she pressed too hard, but sang like freedom when she didn't. Her mother, Maria, the head maid in the Billionaire Harrington estate, had begged her not to stand out too much tonight. Sing something simple, mija. Don't make them stare. But Lily wasn't good at disappearing. Not anymore. Out front, the school's annual talent night buzzed with over 100 people, many of them parents whose net worths were regularly discussed in the Wall Street Journal. And standing dead center among them was Ethan Harrington, the charming, golden-haired son of the Academy's wealthiest donor, and the boy everyone assumed lived on autopilot, feeding off his father's success. He didn't, and Lily was one of the few who knew that. She'd met him while dusting the library shelves at his house. He'd been slumped over a piano, trying and failing to master Mozart's Queen of the Night. His voice cracked so much she had accidentally laughed. Ethan had jerked his head up, mortified. She apologized quickly, but he had insisted she come inside and listen again. That's when Lily, timidly, sang the soprano line back to him. He had stared at her like she'd cracked open the universe. Tonight, the crowd roared as Ethan stepped onto the stage with a microphone in one hand and a paper in the other. His suit was expensive, his smile even more so. Lily blinked in confusion. He wasn't scheduled to perform. He lifted the mic. "Before the next performance," he announced, glancing directly at Lily backstage, "I want to make a little challenge." The audience tittered with excitement. Lily's stomach dropped. Ethan continued, "There's someone here. Someone who has a voice that could stop the, Earth's rotation. But she doesn't think she belongs on this stage. So I told her." He paused dramatically, laughter bubbling through the crowd. "If she sings the hardest piece, Mozart's Queen of the Night, I'll marry her." The crowd erupted. Lily froze. He hadn't told her he planned to say that in front of the entire school. Ethan grinned mischievously. "Lily Martinez, come on up." The spotlight swung like a blade and pinned her in place. And in that burning circle of light, she felt her whole world tilt.
Lily's heart hammered so hard, she thought the microphone might pick it up. She stepped into the center of the stage, guitar in hand, surrounded by hundreds of eyes, some amused, some confused, and too many waiting for her to fail. Ethan whispered as she approached, "You don't have to do opera. I know you prepared your own piece. Just show them you." But it was too late. The audience was already chanting her name. Lily closed her eyes. She could run. She could walk off stage and let everyone chalk her up as the timid maid's daughter who didn't belong. Or she could choose differently. She adjusted the guitar strap, positioned herself at the microphone, and inhaled slowly, deep enough that her trembling muscles steadied. Then she began. Not Mozart, not the challenge he threw out, but her own arrangement, her own fusion of acoustic melody with fragments of Mozart's soprano line woven inside. A haunting mix of modern softness and classical fire. The first note floated like glass in the air, clear and fragile. The second one carried weight. By the third, the room had gone silent, eerily, utterly silent. Even phones that had been recording slowly lowered. Ethan's smile faded into awe. Lily's voice climbed higher, threading the iconic coloratura run into her melody. A run only trained opera singers dared touch, yet here she was, a girl who had practiced alone in a storage closet, soaring through it with a purity that sent chills down spines. She hit the high F. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "Is she real?" Her confidence swelled, her fear burning away in the fire of her own music. She kept going, weaving emotion into every phrase, years of being overlooked, underestimated, pushed aside, years of cleaning up after lives she'd never be allowed to live in. The final notes trembled, then resolved into a soft whisper of sound that felt like a prayer. When she opened her eyes, the entire auditorium was standing. But it was the look on Ethan's face that stole her breath. He wasn't smirking anymore. He wasn't joking. His eyes were shining, and he looked at her like he was seeing the stars for the first time. The applause was deafening, a tidal wave crashing over Lily until she nearly stepped back from its force. But Ethan moved closer before she could disappear. He lifted the microphone again, voice cracking, not from embarrassment this time, but emotion. "For the record," he said, gaze locked on her, "my proposal wasn't supposed to be real." A few people laughed uncertainly. He continued, "But after hearing that, after seeing what you just did, I think you deserve a real answer from me." Lily shook her head quickly, cheeks blazing. "Ethan, you don't have to." "I want to." He turned to the audience. "Most of you don't know this, but Lily has been my best teacher this year. She's helped me more than any vocal coach my dad hired. She made me believe I could be more than just a rich kid with a fancy last name." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Ethan continued, "She's not just the maid's daughter. She's the most talented singer in this entire school." Cameras lifted again. Lily swallowed. "Ethan, please, this is too much." He lowered the mic, stepping close enough that only she could hear. "I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. I meant the challenge as a way to push you, not to hurt you." His voice softened. "I know what you're capable of. I just wanted them to see it too." "And the marriage joke?" she whispered. He rubbed the back of his neck. "Yeah, okay, that was stupid, but I never meant it to be cruel." Before she could respond, a deep voice boomed from the back. "Ethan Harrington." The crowd parted like water. His father, James Harrington, billionaire philanthropist, and the only man whose shadow Ethan could never escape, stepped forward with a look that gave everyone chills. He stopped at the foot of the stage, arms crossed. "Is this what you've been doing with your time?" he demanded. "Public stunts, proposals, making a circus of an event I donate hundreds of thousands to each year." Ethan visibly tensed. Lily stepped back instinctively. James turned his cold eyes to her. "And you're the housekeeper's daughter, aren't you?" The room held its breath. Ethan moved between them. "Dad, stop. She just gave the best performance this school has ever seen." "That's irrelevant," James snapped. "You humiliated our family name tonight." Lily's chest tightened. "The humiliation." He said it like she was part of the problem, like she was a stain. But Ethan shook his head. "The only thing humiliating is how you talk to people." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Students raised their phones again, not to record the performance this time, but the confrontation. James stiffened. "You're coming with me now." "No," Ethan said simply. His father stared in shock. Ethan continued, voice steadying. "For once in my life, I'm doing something that matters. Lily is the most incredible person I've ever met, and I'm not going to pretend she's beneath me just because her mom works for you." Gasps. James stepped forward sharply, but Lily moved faster. She positioned herself between the two of them, chin lifted. With the entire school watching, she said quietly, "Don't blame Ethan for defending someone he cares about." The billionaire blinked, stunned, not at her words, but at the confidence with which she said them. A girl from a background he never cared to understand had just stood up to him. Silence hung heavy, and then something unexpected happened. The principal stepped onto the stage. "Mr. Harrington, with respect, the young lady's performance speaks for itself. Your son did nothing wrong." Parents nodded. Students applauded. The billionaire exhaled sharply and left the auditorium without another word. Ethan let out a breath he'd been holding his entire life, and Lily felt the world shift again. The lights dimmed gently as the last of the parents filed out. Lily sat on the edge of the stage, legs swinging, guitar beside her. The adrenaline had worn off, leaving trembling relief in its place. Ethan approached slowly. "Hey," he murmured, taking a seat next to her. "You okay?" She nodded. "I should be asking you that." He chuckled weakly. "I've wanted to stand up to my dad for years. Guess I finally found the courage. Because of me." "Because of you," he confirmed. She looked at him, really looked. Not the billionaire's son, not the flawless golden boy everyone expected, but the boy who struggled, who tried, who wanted to be better than the legacy handed to him. "You didn't have to fight for me," she said softly. He shook his head. "I wasn't fighting for you. I was fighting with you." The words made her chest flutter. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the crumpled paper he'd been holding earlier. "What's that?" she asked. "My proposal, the original one, before I blurted out something ridiculous on stage." He opened the paper, and Lily's breath caught. It wasn't a proposal. It was a recommendation. Letter to a prestigious performing arts conservatory in New York. Handwritten. Signed by Ethan. And attached behind it, a second letter from his father. Before tonight. Your dad signed this? She whispered. He did, Ethan said. I told him last week I wanted to help you apply. He wasn't thrilled, but he agreed to sponsor your audition costs. Ethan hesitated. I think he really did respect your talent, even if he didn't show it tonight. Lily blinked hard. Ethan, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. He smiled shyly. It's not charity. It's belief. She didn't know what to say, so he said it for her. I didn't mean the marriage thing literally, he began awkwardly. But I do mean this literally. I want to be the person who lifts you up, not the one who weighs you down. Lily's heart warmed, softened, opened. She stood, holding the letter to her chest. Then give me one promise. Anything. Don't ever joke about marriage on stage again. He laughed, soft and real. Deal. Then without cameras, without an audience, without his father's shadow pressing down, he reached for her hand, gently, sincerely. And for the first time that night, Lily felt like everything, every note she had ever sung, had finally led her somewhere she belonged.